Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Krishnakarine Namo Vedanta Vedhyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Krishna Dvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvalokahite Ratam Vedhabja Bhaskaram Vande Shamadhi Nilayam Munim Sahasramurte Purushottamasya Sahasranetranana Baho Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam Niruchyate Janma Jaradishantyai. Namaste once again, all of you.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. In case someone has not marked the attendance.
Namaste.
Namaste. So we were seeing this sloka. Mahabhuddhir Mahaviryo Mahashaktir Mahadyutihi Anirdeshava Pusriman Ameyatma Mahadridrik. So in the last class, I think we saw Anirdesha Vapuhu. This is the meaning we saw. Basically, Anirdesha Vapuhu means one who cannot be defined categorically. So even Maya is said, it cannot be defined categorically. That is why it's all called Anirvachaniyam. So here it's a different expression, Anirdeshya Vapuhu. Idam tat iti nirdeshtum yatna shakyate. You cannot say it is this or that. You cannot say with any certainty. And that is Paramatma. Okay. So this is the meaning we saw in the last class. The next one is Shriman. Shriman here, the meaning is the Lord of all wealth and prosperity. If you recall, this Nama occurred earlier also. And Adi Shankara there gave the meaning of Shriman as Yasya Vakshasi Nityam Vasati Shrihi Sahasriman. The one who has got Lakshmi on his chest, Vakshasi Nityam Vasati. So that was the meaning Adi Shankara took there in explaining the word Shriman. And in fact, this word will occur 2 more times later on in the Vishnu Sahasranamam. And everywhere Adi Shankara interprets these words. It's a slight different shade of meaning. So here he gives another meaning. Aishwarya Lakshana Samagra Shrihi Yasya Sahasriman. So he is Shriman. Yeah. He is Shriman because he has Shri. And what is Shri? He defines Shri as Aishwarya Lakshana Samagra. Absolute overlordship, lording over all the worlds and also the lords of the worlds. Total overlordship, Samagra Shri. and Aishwarya Laksham. That is what is Shriman. Here he takes the meaning. So we have seen this meaning again and again. When we saw Bhagavan, one of the 6 components of the Bhaga is Aishwarya, overlordship. So that meaning is being brought here by Adi Shankara in explaining this Nama Shriman here in this context. Then the next Nama is Ameyatma. Ameyatma, again, this we have seen this Nama previously. And there it was said that the ones whose nature cannot be measured, Ameyatma. But here, Adi Shankara interprets the word Atma as Buddhi, knowledge or intelligence. So, Bhagavan is one whose Buddhi is Ameya, whose knowledge and intelligence cannot be measured by anyone at any time. Sarvaihi pranibihi ameyaha atma buddhihi yasya saha ameyatma. That's what he says. And we can see, with regard to our people around us, we may be able to say, okay, this person knows this much. He has studied well, he has read well, he knows this much. But it's still not possible for us to know fully all that that person knows. With reference to some few subjects, we can say. But everything that person knows, we may not be able to know. And if that is so with reference to human beings, what can we say about the Buddhi of the Lord? We can only say he has all knowledge. Sarvajnaha, we can say. But if we are asked to define what is that all, we will not know how to define all, because we don't know what all are included in that word all. All knowledge, we don't know what is included in that all. Therefore, his extent of his knowledge is immeasurable. Maximum we can say is that he has ignorance of nothing, or he has no ignorance of anything, either in its detail or in its depth at any point in time. That is the maximum we can say about Lord. Otherwise, what is the total extent of that knowledge of Ishvara? We cannot know. That is why it is immeasurable. Ameyatma. Then the next Nama is Mahadridrik. Now it's a very interesting Nama here, because Adi Shankara takes 2-3 different shades of meanings, and he explains this Mahadridrik. Mahantam Adri Girim Mandaram Govardhanam Va Amritamathane Gorakshanecha Dhritavan Iti Mahadridrik. So during his Krishna Avatara, we all have read these stories. Bhagavan Krishna lifted the Govardhana mountain to protect Gokula from torrential rains. That story we know. And Indra, angry that his Indra Puja was done annually, was denied that year, caused incessant and torrential rains with the intention of, let us say, destroy Gokula. Of course, the Lord is so powerful, he could have easily stopped it by a mere sankalpa. But in Krishna Avatara, Bhagavan chose to reveal himself as an Avatara by lifting the Govardhana Giri with his little finger and holding it continuously for a week, thus protecting all the people and cattle of Gokula. Hence, he is called Mahadridrik. Adri means Giri, that is a mountain. That's why Mahadridrik he is called. Then there is another meaning Adi Shankara takes, Amrita Matane Gorakshanecha Dritavaniti Mahadridrik. So when the Devas and Asuras, they were churning the milky ocean with the Mandara mountain. Mandara mountain was the churning lord, and the Vasuki was the serpent, or the snake was the rope with which they were churning the ocean, milky ocean. This mountain, Mandara mountain, began sinking by its own weight. So there, Bhagavan takes avatara as Kurma avatara, the tortoise, and once again he lifts up the Mandara mountain from the bottom of the ocean. Again, because of his uplifting the big mountain, he is called Mahadridrik. And in fact, the entire Brahmanda, this whole cosmos can be compared like a Mahadri, a great mountain, whose peak cannot be seen. Brahmandam dharati drishati iti Mahadridrik. And this nama actually is derived from the root drish. Drish pragalbhye. Pragalbhye means to dare, to be overbearing. So Bhagavan sustains and upholds the truth of this Brahmanda, this cosmos. And even in the Archana, when we do, the Nama we chant is Mahadidrishe Namaha, or even Mahadidrit Namaha, that also is there. Both have got the same meaning. So this is the last one, Mahadridrik, of the previous sloka. Now we will go to the next sloka, and I will read the sloka. Maheshwaso Mahi Bharta Srinivasa Satangatihi Aniruddhasuranando Govindo Govidampatihi. So this is the 33rd sloka. Again here we have got how many? 8 namas. Maheshwasaha, Mahibharta, Srinivasaha, Satangatihi, Aniruddhaha, Suranandaha, Govindaha, Govidampatihi. These are the namas. 8 namas are there. Maheshwasaha. Maheshwasaha, this name we have come across in Bhagavad Gita. All of those who are Gita students will know. Maheshwasa basically is, Mahaishwasa is Maheshwasa. The one who has got the capacity to wield the bow and strike the arrows. So, the Adi Shankara says, Mahanishwasa ikshuchepo yasya sa Maheshwasa. That is the meaning he takes. So Ishwasa means the capacity to shoot the arrows, or Ishwasa also means the bow from which the arrow is shot. So the one who is Mahanishwasa, a great bow, or who has a distinguished capacity in archery, that he is Maheshwasa. And the best example given for this nama in the scriptures is Lord Sri Rama. When we look at the Itihasas, because the Ramayana predates all Puranas and even Mahabharata. So the very first character or avatara of Bhagavan we come across who was a very great archer is Sri Rama. And that's why the whole story starts, it's when he is able to, sort of string that bow of Lord Shiva. That is how he gets married to Sita. And it is said that Sri Rama could actually put a hole through 7 trees by just one arrow. And in fact, he is praised as the one who does not need more than one arrow to hit any target. So it is the, in Bhagavan's Leela in the Sri Rama Avatara, we have to bring that into our mind when we are chanting this Nama Maheshwasa. So next one is Mahi Bharta. Mahi Bharta means the supporter of the truth. Ekarna Vaplutam Devi Mahim Cha Babhareti Mahi Bharta. That's what he says. Ekarna Vaplutam. At the time of Pralaya, the cosmic resolution, it is said that there will be water everywhere. At the same time, we also say Pralayam means the manifest going into unmanifest condition. So if everything is going to go into an unmanifest condition during Pralaya, how can there be water? The water also is part of the manifest prapancha. So here what is referred to is a relative pralaya. And in that pralaya, Bhagavan Krishna is depicted as a baby, sucking his toe and lying on a banyan leaf, floating on vast expanse of water. We have seen these photos, all of us. So it's a relative pralaya, it is not Mahapralaya. Then the other meaning is Adi Shankara is taking is Mahim Bhabareti Mahi Bharta. So in this Varaha Avatara, Bhagavan plunges into the water and brings up the Mahi. Mahi here means the earth, for the creation to start again. So he is the one who always supports the earth rather. So that way also we can say he is Mahi Bharta. So these two meanings Adi Shankara takes. Then the next Nama is Srinivasaha. Srinivasaha, he is giving the meaning Yasya Vakshasya Anapayini Srihi Vasati Saha Srinivasa. So, Anapayini Srihi Vasati, the goddess of wealth. Shri, that is goddess of wealth, Shri, always dwells on his chest without ever leaving him. And Shri, of course, here is, we have to understand as a Maya Shakti. And he is the Nivasa, the abode of the blessing Shakti of Maya. That is Shri. Hence he is Srinivasa. And we have seen earlier also, Lakshmi is always with the Lord only. In fact, we have also seen the story how Lakshmi came out of the Samudra Matanam and then, she said that I will marry a person who is not getting attracted by me. So all the stories we have seen. So Lakshmi is always with the Lord. Where there is Vishnu, there is Lakshmi. That's what we have to understand. That is the meaning of Srinivasa. Then Satam Gatihi. Satam Gatihi, he says, Satam Vaidikanam Sadhunam Purushartha Sadhana Hetuhu Satam Gatihi. The destination of all good people who Bhagavan Parandhama destination. In fact, interestingly, the word Gati has got two meanings. Or in the word Gati in the language allows itself to be interpreted in two ways. Gamyate anaya iti gatihi. the means by which one reaches the destination, which is the road, the path, is called a gati. And another interpretation, gamyate iti gatihi, the destination that it is reached. This is karmani vyutpatti, gamyate iti gatihi. The destination that is reached, achieved, is also called gati. So the means and the end both are called gati. And Bhagavan is presented here as both the means and the end. Pujya Swamiji quotes from the Bible very nicely. There is a sentence in Bible, I am the way and I am the goal. And this biblical statement can be understood only through Vedanta. What does that mean? The means and end are one and the same. Because the end, the destination is always for somebody who is seeking. Somebody is seeking the attaining the goal, reaching the goal. That's why we used all these expressions. But those who are Satpurushas, who follow the dharmas prescribed by the Vedas, see the Lord as the gati, the means for attaining the purushartha that they want to attain, be it artha, kama, dharma, or even moksha. And he becomes their gati, that is their goal, by blessing them. And while pursuing artha, kama, and dharma purusharthas, in the course of time, they come to understand that any end that is sought after is Ishvara and Ishvara alone. And therefore, the real gati, the end, is Ishvara. And they also understand that I as a seeker is not separate from Ishvara. So therefore, what am I seeking? There is really no end. I am the end. And there is no means necessary for reaching that end. That is the ultimate knowledge we gain when we are in the spiritual path. Initially, Ishvara is somebody who is a goal to be achieved, to be attained, to be reached. And then we follow the spiritual path, road to attain that Ishvara. As even we keep on traveling on this, at some stage of enlightened knowledge, we realize that there is no Ishvara other than my own self. So why am I doing all these things? Once I have realized that I am Ishvara, Aham Brahmasmi, there is nothing more to be reached. That is the final goal. And this fact is very beautifully brought out in the Bhagavad Gita also, with the analogy of the fire ritual. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havihe Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Arpana is the spoon, the wooden spoon, which is used as an instrument by which something is offered into that Agni. So this says Brahmarpana, that Arpana, that instrument is Brahman. Brahma Havihi, that Havis, that cooked rice which is offered into the Agni is also Brahman. Brahmagnau, the fire unto which it is offered is also Brahman. Brahmana Hutam, the person who is offering, who is doing the offering is also Brahman. Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, what is to be achieved through the fire ritual is also Brahman. and who achieves the result is also Brahman. The one who has got this vision is referred to as Brahma Karma Samadhihi. And he achieves the result of this vision that everything in this prapancha is nothing but Brahman alone. So here, a fire ritual is just a symbolism, an example. If you understand the symbolism behind it, we will understand that everything in this prapancha is Brahman alone, Ishvara alone, Parameshwara alone. And to gain that Parameshwara, that Lord, the means also is Parameshwara only. Because Parameshwara cannot be understood by any other means. If you want to understand your own self, what means you will employ to understand your own self? You are Parameshwara, and Parameshwara, Brahman, is understood only in this way. We have already seen Brahman cannot be known as an object. Only by being Brahman can Brahman be understood. So it is, like the 10th man story. I think I have narrated that story too in the context of one of the earlier Navamas. The 10th man understanding the 10th man by being the 10th man. Because he is the 10th man. Otherwise, he will keep on looking for the 10th man, counting all the 9 people and say, where is the 10th man? So, a 10th man can understand the 10th man by being the 10th man because he is the 10th man. Similarly, the knowledge that I am Brahman is the means and I am Brahman is also the end. And that is what is this, this nama is implies Satam Gatihi. And this knowledge, of course, is gained by Satam, Satpurushas, people who are accomplished in their spiritual goals, rather, who have understood, not only understood, but also they have internalized this reality, Aham Brahmasmi. So this is the meaning of Satam Gatihi. Then the next nama is Aniruddha. Adi Shankara says, Na kenapi pradhurbhaveshu niruddha iti aniruddha. The word niruddha means to be stopped or obstructed. And the Lord is never stopped or obstructed in his functions of creation, sustenance, and resolution by anyone or by anything. Because the entire creation is Satya Sankalpa of the Lord. Nakena pradhurbhaveshu. Even in his pradhurbhavas, that is in his manifestations as various avatars, he never faces any obstruction to what he sets out to do. Therefore, he is Aniruddha. Okay. Then the next nama is very simple. Suranandaha. Suran Anandayati iti Surananda. We pray to various deities like Indra, Agni, Prajapati, other devas, all of that for our happiness and welfare, isn't it? But these devas, in turn, themselves pray to Parameshwara for their happiness and their well-being. So that is why he is the one who causes Ananda. Ananda is happiness. To the Suras. Suras means the Devas. So that is why he is Surananda. This is the next Nama. Then we come across another very interesting Nama, Govinda. Here Adi Shankara quotes from 2-3 sources. He shows from Mahabharata Shanti Parva, then Harivamsha Purana. He quotes 2 slokas. And after quoting them, he says, Gaurvani tam vindati iti govindaha tesham patihi visheshena iti govidam patihi. Sorry, that is the next one. Sorry. So here, Gaurvani tam vindati iti govindaha. So this is a very profound Nama of the Lord, Govinda. Those who have gone to Tirupati will know the importance of this Nama. And the meaning can be understood in different contexts. So Adi Shankara first quotes from Mahabharata. He says, Nashtam vai dharanim purvam avindyat guhagatam govinda iti tenaham devaihi vagbihi abhishtutah. So iti moksha dharma vachanat govinda, he says. So in Mahabharata, in this Shanti Parva, Bhagavan introduces his various names and their meanings. And there he says, because I found the earth that was hidden in the lower regions at the beginning of the creation, I am praised by the Devas and scriptures as Govinda. So this is one meaning of Govinda. The other one, Adi Shankara quotes from that, as I told, Harivamsha Purana. The background of this is, when Govardhanagiri, I told you, when the Lord lifted the Govardhanagiri, he crushed the pride of Lord Indra. And he protected the cows. This is the Krishna Avatara story. Hence, after that, Indra praised him, saying, Aham kilendro devanam tvam gavamindratam gataha govinda iti lokastvam stoshyanti bhuvi shashvatam. Aham Kila Indraha, I am the Indra, Devanam, of the Lord of the Devas. And Tvam Gavamindratam Gataha, you are the Indra of the cows. So, as Gavam Indra, the Lord of the cows, people will praise you forever, Shashwatam, where in the Bhuvi, Stoshyanti, will praise you. How they will praise you? Govinda iti, as Govinda. So this is the another derivation of the word Govinda. Okay, Bhavan, that is also same thing. The third one also is Harivamsha Purana. So Gauresha tu yato vani tamcha vindayate bhavan govindatsu tato deva munibihi katyate bhavan. So same meaning is there. What was there earlier? There was by Indra. Here he says all the munis will praise you as Govinda. Pujya Swamiji adds one more dimension to this. He says that in the form of Hayagriva, as he found and rescued the Vedas, which was stolen by the Asuras Madhu and Kaidapa, he is known as Govinda. Because the word Go means Vedas, which we will see, Govidam Patihi. In the next one, we will see an extension of this meaning, Govinda. So next Nama is Govidam Patihi, where he says, Gaurvani tam vindati iti govind, sorry, tesham patir vishesheneti govidam patihi. Gam vindantiti iti govindaha tesham patir vishesheneti govidam patihi. Okay. One who knows and understands go means the words of the Veda, is Govid. And Bhagavan is Govidam Patihi, the Lord of all those who know the Veda. He is their protector. Those who know the Vedas and those who follow the Vedas, Vedic lifestyle, they are all dharmis. And the Lord protects all the dharmis, because by protecting the dharmis, the only way to protect dharma. And the Lord's sankalpa always is dharma samsthapanartha. Dharma samsthapanam is the sankalpa of the Lord. So for dharma samsthapanam, he has to protect the dharmis. And the dharmis are who? They are Govids, those who know the words of the Veda. And the Lord is also the subject matter of the Vedas. Therefore, once he is known and understood, then the Lord becomes the ruler of the heart. Previously, it was Ahankara, the ego, which was ruling the heart. Now, as we get more and more Ishvara into our lives, what happens? Bhagavan actually replaces that Ahankara in the heart. There is no more a place for Ahankara in the heart where Bhagavan rules, the Lord rules. If at all Ahankara is there, it can only exist as the shadow of Bhagavan. The ego is diluted, or we can even say falsified. And then it is a mithya ego. Or if you want to put it positively, an enlightened ego. Because that ego is nothing but a shadow of Bhagavan. It is now Bhagavan who is ruling the heart. This is the meaning of the word Govidam Patihi. Okay. So now we will go to the next nama, next sloka. Marichirdamano hamsah suparno bhujagottamaha hiranyanapassutapah patmanabhah prajapatihi. This is the 34th sloka. So here again we have got 9 namas. Yeah. 6, 7, 8. Sorry. 189 to 197. The 9 namas. Marichihi, Damanaha, Hamsaha, Suparnaha, Bhujagottamaha, Hiranyanabaha, Sutapaha, Patmanabaha, Prajapatihi. These are the 9 namas. Okay. The first one is Marichihi. Adi Shankara says, Tejasvinamapi Tejastvat Marichihi. And he quotes from Gita. Tejas Tejasvinamaham. That's what he quotes. 10th chapter. Iti Bhagavat Vachanat. So the Lord is the one who outshines even the most effulgent. Because the Lord is himself is of the nature of effulgence. Consciousness is what? Effulgence only. When we actually observe light, it looks as though that light we see is constant. But we must understand the scientific fact the light keeps traveling and keeps on dying. So the light keeps dying and coming back, but it looks as though it is constantly present. And the Lord is what? Lord is Jyotir Jyotihi, the light of all lights. That's why you know that quotation is Tejas Tejas Vinam Aham. I am the brilliance in the brilliant people. This is one of the important glories of the Lord. 10th chapter is all glories only. So as I keep on saying, the aim of Vishnu Sahasranama is to take away the ego, that is thinking that all this glory belongs to me, I am brilliant, etc. It is good to have an insight into one's capacities, very important for developing self-esteem. But at the same time, if that self-esteem is not to be converted into, or it should not manifest as arrogance, as they call headweight, there should be awareness that all the capacities that I have are all given by the Lord. It is just that because of my past punyas, I have been chosen by the Lord for manifestation of this particular glory, whatever it may be. When we approach with this humility and appreciation, then there is a presence of Ishvara. We will see Ishvara in every thought of ours. We will see Ishvara in every action of ours. That is why, at every time, whatever we do, we have to remember Ishvara. Even loudly remember doesn't matter. Sitting down, Hey Krishna. Getting up, Hey Krishna. There are people who actually do this, practice this. So every sight, hearing, all faculties that we have are all given by Ishvara. And the presence of Ishvara is brought in by this awareness. Once we have this awareness, automatically what we are aiming for through the sadhanas of Vishnu Sahasranama chanting and all is Chitta Shuddhi. And what is Chitta Shuddhi? Nothing but replacement of all our I sense, the ego, with the thoughts of Ishvara in our heart, in our buddhi. That is what is Marichihi, the meaning of the name Marichihi. Then Damanaha. He says, Swadhikarat pramadhyatihi praja damayitum sheelam asya vaivaswatadhi rupeneti damanaha. Damanaha means basically the one who subdues. So the Lord has got the power to make every devata do his job. Bhagavan makes all these three spheres, Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, and Adhyatmika function at all the times. All beings in this prapancha have to do their jobs, their duties which are delegated to them. Swadhikarat pramadhyatihi praja dhamayati. He subdues or punishes those who go away from their ordained duties in the form of Lord Yama. There's other agents are also there for Bhagavan. So that is why he is called Damana, Damanaha. But we should not misunderstand that Lord is all out to punish people. Lord punishes people as the last resort rather. We have to look at Lord not as a punisher, but also he is present in the form of grace, in the form of all glories. So this is the meaning of the word Damanaha. The next nama is Hamsaha. So what does Adi Shankara say? Aham sa iti tadatmya bhavinaha samsara bhayam hantiti hamsaha. Then he goes into some Sanskrit, which many of you, most of you even will not understand. I'll just read it. Pushodaraditva chabda sadhutvam hanti gacchati sarva sharireshu iti va hamsaha hagumsaha shuchi shat kathopanishad iti mantra varnat. So much he says. See, Hamsa is actually, we all know, is a mythological bird. We say it is swan and all that, but in the Puranas, it is a mythological bird which has got the capacity to discriminate between good and useful and not useful. That is why this mythological bird is said to be having the ability that if you mix milk with water, it will actually take only the milk and leave the water behind. So the power of discrimination, when everything is mixed, is symbolized by this Hamsa. That is why sannyasis who have developed all these Mahatmas, they are called Paramahamsa. So this word Hamsa is a mythological bird. Han is the verbal root. Hanti iti hamsaha. But the word Han actually means who destroys. But how we have to understand the destruction part of this Hamsa? Paramatma is Hamsa who destroys the fear of samsara. When he is understood as Aham Saha, I and he are one. The knowledge and grace of the limitless Paramatma will destroy the bondage of samsara. Sarva Sharireshu Hanti. So he is also called Hamsa because he moves in all the bodies. Hamsa Shuchisat, Kathopanishad. So as the moving sun, he dwells in a clean place of heaven rather, Shuchisad. So there are various meanings which are given. For our purposes, all that we have to understand is Paramatma is Hamsa. He destroys the fear of samsara when he is understood as Aham Saha. It means what? Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, if that is fully gained and internalized, then the samsara is completely destroyed. Samsara is what? Samsara is nothing but our dependence on the external world for our happiness. That is samsara. If you want to define samsara very simply. Because the goal of every living being is what? To be happy. Ananda is the goal. Now, according to the scriptures, there are two sources of Ananda we have got. The first source of Ananda is the external world, the objects which are there in the external world, be it any material object or even persons. They are the first source of Ananda, which we actually, we use that source in and out throughout the day for being very happy. Whether it is acquiring a car or whether it is, meeting a relation, all this gives us a happiness. And so the first source Shastra says is external source, which is the first source of Ananda, which is available to all beings. And of course, the Veda Purva Bhaga, the Karma Kanda portion, it gives all the, the route map, how to gain that Ananda from the external sources. That is your Artha, Kama, Dharma, Purusharthas. This is the external source, which gives us happiness, Ananda. But Shastra says that there is another source of Ananda, which is hidden, which is inside you. So Shastra says that your aim in this life, especially as a human being, should be to tap that source, hidden source of Ananda. Because of two reasons. One, the external source of Ananda no doubt gives us happiness, but that external source is temporary. Anything which is born will die. Today it is there, tomorrow it will not be there. So the continuity of your Ananda, your happiness from an external source is limited. And second thing is that you are dependent, you develop a dependence on the external source to become happy. And that dependence actually for happiness actually can get converted into grief or sorrow if that external source vanishes. So the external source is not a source which should be relied upon permanently. As long as we use that external source for our happiness, it is okay, no problem, well and good. But don't take that external source as a permanent source, because it is not a permanent source. Then what is a permanent source? The permanent source of happiness is there within your own self. Divine that source. These water diviners are there. If you go in some place, you want to dig a well or something like that, you bring these water diviners. They will actually walk on that piece of land with some, I think, some stick or something, and they will know that there is a water under this place. So, as a human being, take the help of the Shastras and do Ananda divining within your own self. Once you have, discovered that Ananda as a source of happiness which is there within yourself, then you are gaining two important benefits. Number one, that Ananda which is there, which is a source of happiness within you, it is limitless, and it will not be, it doesn't get destroyed. Because that is your essential nature. Ananda, Satchit Ananda is your essential nature. That Ananda will never go away. It will never die. It will never get destroyed. That is one benefit of divining that Ananda or discovering that Ananda. Second benefit is that Ananda, you have no dependence on that, because it is your own Ananda. It is not external that you have to depend upon that, and because of the dependence, it can turn into a grief or sorrow. It is never going to vanish. It is within you. Perennial source of happiness. So that Ananda, the Shastra says, discover, spend your entire lifetime to discover that Ananda. Once you have discovered that Ananda and you are abiding in that Ananda, that is what is moksha. There is no other moksha. So this is what the Shastras advise us. So what we have to do, we have to take the help of the Shastra, take the help of a guru, and then use this precious life that we have got in this birth as a human being. Use that life for discovering, divining that source of permanent perennial Ananda which is within ourselves. And what is that Ananda? Nothing but Paramatma. Because the Swarupa of Paramatma is also Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam and Sat Chit Ananda. So once you discover that source of Ananda within yourself, you will then understand that this source of Ananda is nothing but Paramatma. So there is no difference between me and Paramatma. That is how we have to understand Aham Brahmasmi. This is what the Vedas, the Upanishads, all of them are trying to put into our head. That is why the initial Purva Bhaga that says it's no problem. You please pursue Artha, Kama and Dharma. No problem with that. But you look for ways to reduce your dependence, stop your dependence on Artha, Kama and Dharma for your happiness, for your Ananda. And the only way you can do it is discover this permanent source of Ananda within you. And by that you will stop your dependence on Artha, Kama and Moksha. Even after discovering this permanent source of Ananda within yourself, you need not stop gaining Ananda from Artha, Kama and Dharma, from the external source. You can continue to do that and use your reservoir of this Ananda, like what is the dams and all they use, the water. Use this reservoir as a source for Ananda when the external source vanish, when they get destroyed, when they stop actually giving that happiness to you. Because external source also, they don't give happiness permanently. Today they may give happiness, but tomorrow the very same source may be a cause of sorrow or grief. Isn't it? These are all the limitations of the external source, be it a person or be it even some material things rather. They may be the cause for grief for us. So whenever that grief comes, switch to permanent source of Ananda, which is there, which is your nature, your, it is your reservoir available for. This is what the Shastras say. So we will stop here and take the next Nama in the next class. Suparnaha we will say in the next class. Okay, let's say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Namaste Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mama.
Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Hari, 1 minute. If anybody is leaving, let them leave. Then other people.
Thank
Yes,
you,
Hari. Yeah.
Hari
Thank you,
Om, Mahadaya.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghuji.
Thank you.
Yes, Adiji.
Guruji, I need two clarifications. One is when you are telling obtaining happiness or getting happiness. That means we are getting it. We need an equipment.
We
need an equipment to get. When we use the word obtaining or getting happiness, and our equipment, they are all finite equipment, finite object and finite equipment. So anything that we are using with the equipment finite and finite object, the happiness also will be finite only. So if we are now talking about infinite happiness, then we can never get infinite happiness because that is within us. We can only become the infinite happiness.
I understand your question. It's a little, advanced explanation needs to be given. There is nothing called gaining happiness. These are all words which are used for want of any expression in any language. Because what is your nature, you don't need to gain it, isn't it?
There.
If your nature is happiness, you don't need to gain it. You don't need to go in pursuit of that. But this understanding that happiness is my nature, do we have it now? We don't have it. If we have had that understanding that happiness is my nature, we will never ever look for happiness from external things.
True.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, what is moksha? Shastra defines that moksha is not something to be achieved. Ananda is not something to be achieved. You are Ananda. Only thing is you are ignorant of this fact. All that Shastra does is, with the help of a guru, please gain this knowledge that you were never bound. I was always free. I am free. I will ever be free. I was always Ananda Swarupa. I am now Ananda Swarupa. I will always be Ananda Swarupa. That knowledge when we gain, that is what is moksha, and that is the permanent state of happiness for a person. For such a person, he will not be depending upon any external source for being happy. Nor will he be sorrowful if any of those external sources disappear. That's why Krishna says in the very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita, Gatasun agatasuscha na shochati pandita. A person who is a pandita, a person who has realized this, that for my happiness, I am the only source for permanent happiness. I will not bother whether something is coming from, happiness is coming from outside or happiness is going away from the external sources. Whatever coming and going is the order of this prapancha. A person who understands this and understands that my aim and not my aim, the aim of goal of every living being is to be happy. And not temporarily happy, permanently happy. So once we understand that, then there is all these facts of moksha, gaining happiness, attaining, all these words are actually removed. In fact, the Shastras use all these things like we use the word, this X in mathematics. We don't know what it is. So let it be X. And then we solve the equation. And eventually that X is removed from the equation. Isn't it? This is how we solve the mathematical problems. Similarly, Shastra introduces these words: attaining, moksha, goal, all these things are the path, everything Shastra introduces, because that is our orientation at this stage of our spiritual development. That is what we can understand. Because Brahman is, these are all subtle concepts which we can't see, which we can't experience. This is all immeasurable, ameya. How are we going to understand what is this Brahman? So you are right in saying that these are all temporary things and all. And that is why we have to use the temporary things to discover the permanent thing. But once you have actually discovered the permanent thing, you don't actually bother whether the temporary things are there or not. You will require all instruments and implements to dig a well to get water, isn't it? Once the well is dug and the water has come in that well, you don't need these things at all. That is how we have to progress stage by stage in our understanding. But at the end of the day, what is our body, mind, sense complex? All this mind, buddhi, and all, mithya only. Isn't it? So you are absolutely right in saying that they are temporary and they are finite. They are finite, but we have to use them to get to the infinite. That is how we have to understand. Once we use them, get the infinite, you can discard them. Yes. Follow-up question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I got one more query. This is regarding Purushartha. I asked the same question right from the beginning. I don't remember whether it was
Not answered it. Maybe
in
I
this
did.
class or in the other one. No. There was some. The translation of Purushartha is free will. I don't know to what extent that is the correct translation.
Purushartha.
But at the same time.
Okay, continue. I will give you the answer. Yeah.
At the same time, we are also saying Purushartha means Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So how are we correlating when we are on one side, we are telling that it is free will, that the human being has got the free will, unlike in the other animals and plants and other things. At the same time, we are also telling it is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha with the free will.
Very good question. I think, as I told you, the word gatihi, so I explained, has got both the meanings of being the goal and also the road, the means that we use to achieve that goal, correct?
Yeah.
Just now I told both Karna Viptati and Kartari Vipatti. So the word gatihi is a word which is used in the language, Sanskrit language, to denote a goal and also the means to achieve that goal. Similarly, the word Purushartha is also used as the means to achieve the goal and also the goal. Now your goal is Artha Purushartha. What is the means to achieve the Artha Purushartha? Artha Purushartha means security, right? Whether it could be financial security, physical security, any security, that is one of the basic human goals, Artha Purushartha. How do we achieve that?
Yeah.
We achieved it by using our free will. Isn't it? It is because of the free will that we are able to think about it and take all those actions which are required to gain that Artha Purushartha. So in language, especially in the scriptures, there are certain words used, and this Purushartha, since it is there only for human beings, and since free will is there only for human beings, Purushartha and free will are they are talk together in the same meaning. And Purushartha is there as a goal only for human beings, isn't it? Because animals or any other living being doesn't have any Purushartha. Only human beings can have this 4 Purushartha. So because of that also, the goal is also Purushartha, the means is also Purushartha, the means is the free will, and the goal is the whatever we are seeking to gain, whether it is Artha, Kama, Dharma, even Moksha Purushartha. Moksha Purushartha also we can gain only by using our free will, isn't it? We have to come to classes, Bhagavad Gita class, Upanishad class, using our free will. Using our free will, we have an option to go and watch movies also. That also is possible. So this is how in the language, these words are used in different context. Depending on the context, we have to interpret it and understand it. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, any more question? Krishnan ji, Arun Kumar ji.
Sir, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so then shall we close the session? Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Sunday. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.